What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Casper's Kicks once again. Appreciate y'all for stopping and checking out the channel. So today is probably going to be the last video I make on these lost and found ones for a little bit, unless just we get more information on the shoe. But I did in my last video or video 2 videos ago, I mentioned I wanted to discuss basically the raffle process and where things currently stand with the raffle process at various stores, more specifically Flex and Finish Line JD. And then, of course, just kind of boutiques and how they do their raffles as well. Because one store actually in Texas had a pretty cool way they raffled off the lost and founds. So I want to discuss that way as well. And basically just get y'all's idea on where y'all think current raffles are, like how they are being run. And then what y'all think could be done to make these raffles better. Now, starting off, just a quick daily lace-up. I just have one thing to go over. We did get a look at another upcoming 2023 Jordan, and this is the Jordan 5 Aqua, and it's set to release January 21st. And this is an interesting looking Jordan 5. For me, probably not a must cop for next year, but still a decent looking Jordan 5 at the same time. I like the teal kind of aqua hints on here, and then I think it does go well with the black. But that is just another look at an upcoming shoe. Z Sneakerheads has been going crazy with just letting us know what all is coming out for 2023. So, like I said, that was the quick daily lace-up that I had for y'all for today. So now we'll go ahead and just jump into the current raffles for everything. Well, I guess real quick. So when the Lost and Founds dropped, we were actually supposed to also that same day get the Nike Dunk Low Pandas, and that was originally set for like an hour after the Lost and Founds dropped. And then, since we had all the errors and stuff with the Nike app and everything, that got pushed back 2 hours that same Saturday to, I believe it was like 12 or 1 o'clock Central Time that the Panda was supposed to release. Well, the release basically just got scrapped, and so if you're looking for the Panda Dunks that are supposed to drop this past Saturday, they are now set to drop December 2nd again, which was the original date before they got moved up. So December 2nd, you will have another opportunity to cop the Panda Dunks, which is next Friday, I believe it is. So be prepared for that if you're interested in that shoe still. Alright, so let's jump to the raffles for this shoe. So, like I mentioned, I'm going to start with Finish Line and Flex, and then kind of go from there and venture off into other raffles for just different stores that are kind of around and what they do. So, if y'all know how Finish Line JD does raffles, if you don't, they basically have an online system on their app where you can go in, enter your size, pick your stores that you want to enter at, and then they will let you know if you were able to purchase the shoe. So we'll go ahead and start off with Finish Line and JD. So Finish Line and JD does 2 different raffles. They do an in-store raffle and they do a online, basically pre-order raffle as well. Now for the Lost and Found ones, they released everything via exclusive access, either in-store or online. They had no releases online on the website on the release date for the Lost and Found ones. Now, I think the big thing with Finish Line, and I think the issue that a lot of people have with the app, is being able to get into the app to actually be able to see if you have exclusive access, and then at the same time be able to enter and get the exclusive access. So, for example, I have a JD in my area. They just moved location, so it's a fairly new JD. The past couple releases, they have not been on the JD Finish Line app for in-store pairs. And so when I went to talk to them actually the day of the Lost and Found release, they let me know that since it was a newer store, they haven't necessarily been on the app for in-store. So they've been doing in-store raffles for their pairs. Now, I don't know at what point they're going to be on the app for in-store reservations. It's just going to be one of those wait and see whenever that does happen. But I've been wondering, because I usually get access at the store because I shop there all the time, and I just hadn't been getting access. So it was good to know, to find out that that was probably the reason why they haven't been doing in-store raffles at their location. But like I mentioned, that's usually how they do it. But the queue system has just become a real killer, trying to get in and trying to be able to see if you have access, and then also just being able to do the access as well. So normally on a normal day, I would say queue wait time between probably 10 to 30 minutes on average, and usually you can still get in, and at least for me, you can still get in, get a pair. It may not be the size that you want, but you can still get in to get a pair. With the Lost and Founds, I could never get in to actually be able to purchase or just reserve a pair on like that day when they did the exclusive access for pairs. So if y'all have had issues with Finish Line trying to get in and actually reserve a pair? Let me know in the comments, because I'm actually curious to see if like this is just a thing that I'm experiencing, or if it's something that just everyone is experiencing. And same thing with the online pre-order pairs. I could not get into Finish Line at all when they did that one. And I tried desktop, I tried app, I tried on different devices, I tried the app on different devices, and just had no luck at all getting into the app. And I could not get in until everything was sold out. And then when things were sold out, I was finally able to get in and just be able to see what was there. And turns out I had access on both accounts, but because I was not able to get in, I basically missed out on getting pairs of the Lost and Found ones. Now, they do theirs interesting because you can hit in-store and you can hit on the pre-order pairs as well. So, like, if you're reselling pairs, you can get a total of probably 4 pairs, 2 men's, 2 grade school. That's if you have one account. Or one account, yeah, if you have one account, you'll get 4 pairs. If you have multiple accounts, you'll get more than 1 pair. So, that is the whole Finish Line thing. Now, what Finish Line used to do is they used to have basically tickets where you would go into the app, you would enter for your size, and you could put as many tickets as you want on that one reservation. So like what I would do is I would put 20 tickets on one reservation to help guarantee my pair at my local store. And so now kind of like, does Finish Line needs to go back to that method of doing it that way, just because it would make things a little bit easier in my opinion? Or is there a way for them to work around how they can just do what they currently do better? And honestly, like, I really don't know. The queue system, I think, it works, but they kind of just I think they need to switch it up. And honestly, how Flex does theirs is not bad. I like the way Flex does theirs. It's just when Flex has their select winner portion, it does terribly. But yeah, so maybe Finish Line could do something like that. If you have something better that Finish Line could do, let me know in the comments. I'm curious to see how y'all feel about just the whole Finish Line reservation system. Now, let's jump to Flex. So like I mentioned, Flex does their raffles. They open them a week before. You have up until the day before the release at 3 to be able to enter or depending on where you are, an hour before, on the day before they select winners, they let you know. Of course, they do ship to me and they do an in-store. But for Flex, you have plenty of time to be able to go in and enter. And even for the Lost and Found ones, like, I waited to enter because the system was glitching. And so I waited a couple of days before I entered, but everything was fine and it worked out. I was still able to get my pairs in. Now, like I mentioned, the issue with Flex is always on the day before when they announce winners, the system just crashes and you just have a very hard time getting into the app to be able to confirm your pair or even see if you were able to win a pair. So I know for the Lost and Founds, they basically had to pause the raffle and they sent out an alert. And it said, launch reservation paused due to technical difficulties. This event is being paused. This delay will not affect your ability to reserve this item, and you will be alerted once the event resumes. So that was the information they put out. And like, if you went onto the Flex app for a Foot Locker app, we got this screenshot, or I got this error on mine. It said we were having technical difficulties. Check back soon. So you just weren't able to enter. You weren't able to sign in. You weren't able to see if you won. Just the system basically crashed, and that is what we're dealing with. Now, the good thing about the Lost and Found release is that they extended the time that you have to reserve your shoe. Now, normally what they do is they give you an hour from when they announce winners to be able to go in and reserve your shoe. On a good chunk of releases, it's not an issue because the system just doesn't crash. But on the bigger releases like the Lost and Founds, you usually encounter some type of error trying to go in and reserve the shoe. I know for like the taxis, I had actually won a pair of taxis on the Flex app, and I was able to see that I had won the pair, but because the system was glitching and it wouldn't let me in, I wasn't able to confirm the pair in time, and then the time expired. So that is the normal thing. Usually they don't extend the time. Like, if you run out of time, it just is what it is. So some people have no problems getting into confirming, others have just terrible luck getting in. And like I mentioned, there's been several times I've heard people where they can see that they won, but they aren't able to confirm the pair. But so like I mentioned, it was good that they extended the time on this release, but at the same time, I still had people letting me know that they, even with them extending the time, with them fixing their servers, they still weren't able to log in to confirm their pairs if they had won, or even see if they had won. So that is the issue with Flex. And I think with Flex, I think the big thing they need to do is probably just upgrade their servers to be able to handle the massive amount of people that are going on the app to check. So it's another one. Like, it's rough with, especially, these are the two major systems that we have, and probably they just have tons of errors trying to see if you even win or if you won a raffle, or just be able to enter and reserve a pair. And it's interesting because like systems like Hibbett, you really don't see any problems with their raffle system. Now, I will say I don't win on Hibbett like that, but I never have any issues going in and reserving a pair, and I never have issues checking to see if I want a pair. And normally what Hibbett does is they text you to let you know to confirm your pair, which I think helps keep people off the app. And it just makes things a little bit easier traffic-wise. Now, I will say what Finish Line does is they will email you if you have exclusive access, but you kind of get into a gray area with that because Finish Line they email you late, so it could come 5-10 minutes after the reservations drop. It could come an hour after. You just basically have to check. And the issue that we run into is everybody goes to check to see if they have access. So even if you don't have the points, even if you never shop at Finish Line, everybody goes and checks to see if they have access. And I think that just clogs up the whole system and just makes it harder for a lot of people to be able to get in that actually do have access. And I think one way that you can combat that is basically to create a different link to reserve your pair. Like email the people that have access, give them a link that they can go in that not everybody has to be able to go confirm the access, give them a one-time code so you can't use that code multiple times to get multiple pairs, and then just do that and make it a little bit easier on the traffic on the site. But I don't know. Let me know, like I said, how y'all would improve Flex or Finish Line. Now, considering on to another issue that we saw with trying to reserve pairs on Finish Line was the error message that I saw some people receiving, and it said index was out of range, must be non-negative and less than the size of the collection parameter name index. And I have no idea what that means, but that is the error that some people were getting trying to reserve pre-order pairs on the Finish Line app. So let me know if you had gotten that error on the Finish Line app, but it was just a lot between the two. Between that error, getting the error on the Flex app, it was just a lot. Now, jumping to a different store that actually really liked how they did their raffle, and it's another store in Texas. It's located in Austin. It's called Kicking It ATX, and I had no idea about it, but Sneaker Fetish had actually put out a tweet, and it just said, he quoted somebody and said, y'all might want to tap in. And the original tweet said, Sneaker Fetish gotta love Kicking It ATX with their IG drop on Lost and Founds. So what they basically did was they did an IG live and they did a scavenger hunt at home for their raffle, or one of the raffles for the Lost and Found. So basically, if they pick you to be on the IG live, they would give you 15 seconds and they would ask you to go find some item in your home. And if you're able to find it, then that guarantees you a pair of Lost and Found. So I know like one person had to find a stapler, one person had to find a Bible, but it was just small things that everybody should have in their home. And I really liked how they did that because one, it involved the customer, some sense of engagement with the store. It was fair because random people were getting picked to be on the IG live. So it just kind of made things a lot easier. Now, that wasn't the only way they did their raffle. They actually did an online release for locals, and then I think they did like something else as well. I'm not in Austin, so I wasn't able to enter with that store, but just various things like that make it a lot easier for people to enter. And in my opinion, it makes it a lot better on, like, let's say for myself example, I feel better because I had an easier shot at winning compared to dealing with some of these other systems. Like if I just had Finish Line and I had to deal with that and I wasn't even able to get in and I knew I had access, I would feel so much worse compared to me potentially being on an IG live and having to do an at-home scavenger hunt to win a pair. And yeah, so I'm curious to see just how stores carry on with this, especially boutiques, and how they decide to do the raffle. I know like the main boutique in Houston, they do an Google form raffle, and you fill that out and they'll call you if you win. But it just kind of varies by city, state, boutique, how they want to do different things. If y'all have a unique way that y'all's boutiques in your local area do the raffle, let me know in the comments. Like I said, the scavenger hunt at home on IG Live was actually a pretty dope idea, and I would be down to see more boutiques do that. But that is basically what I have for this video. Like I mentioned, let me know how y'all would improve Finish Line raffle, Flex raffle, and just your local boutique raffle, and just how you would make that better. And then also let me know in the comments your experience with the Finish Line and Flex and your local boutique, and just kind of where you think things are with the current raffle method for these major sites, and then of course your local boutique. So as always, go subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, all notification bells so you can share today when I post new content. Next video I should have a review on these bad boys right here, the Air Jordan 4 A Mountaineer, and then we'll just kind of go from there with what else I drop. But as always, hopefully y'all enjoy y'all's week. Stay safe and stay blessed, and I'll catch y'all in the next video.